Steven! Has there been an update if the NFL is going to investigate Pete Carroll?
Not yet. I think we're inching closer, though.
Prison Pete Carroll. Murder Pete Carroll.
No, you took that back, Derek.
Yeah, I know. I saw the apology.
Yeah. My favorite thing was on Fox Sports 1 the next morning on Wake Up Barstool, where it said, breaking news, Dave Portnoy calls out Pete Carroll and then proceeds to just talk about his social media video.
Yeah. Just your opinion, man. Stephen Langford. We're coming to you on a Tuesday night. Not a ton to talk about with the Raider game. So that may be the biggest thing we talk about. 49ers on a bye week. Not a lot of 49er talk as they play the Tennessee Titans. But I do feel they have a better chance of making the postseason now that Daniel Jones is out for the season. But then again, help is on the way, my friend. We'll talk a ton of football. You don't need to go incredibly long tonight. But, Steven, you and I both tied in picks. So we both have to do hot sauce.
Oh, we both do?
Yes.
Didn't we also tie in fantasy?
No, that was you and somebody else.
Oh, I thought that was you. I thought you were the Dak Street Boys.
No. Are you, dude, you know me long enough. Would I have a team name called the Dak Street Boys?
No. What'd you have? What is your name again?
My name is Ashton Good Genty. Or Ashton Good Jeans, because I'm making fun of Sydney Sweeney's commercial where she wore the jeans, and everybody was like, oh, that's racist.
It's always great to explain the joke.
Yeah. Before we get to any football, just real quick, your thoughts, Steven. Jeff Kent going into the Hall of Fame, and Barry Bonds still not going in.
Well-deserved with Jeff Kent. He's one of the greatest hitting second basemen of all time. He's a World Series champion, I believe, an MVP, five-time All-Star, 3 of them with the Giants, and yada, yada, yada. He is one of the game's greats, and I think Jeff Kent, you have to tell the story of baseball with Jeff Kent included in that because of his run-ins with Barry Bonds, and I don't think that he can be forgotten as a guy who was also an MVP candidate along with Bonds, who was a perennial MVP candidate. But my feeling doesn't change on the Hall of Fame as an organization, as a committee, whatever you want to call it. If Barry Bonds or Roger Clemens aren't in, then I don't know how I'm supposed to take the Hall of Fame seriously. Like, these are two of the greatest of their generation, regardless of steroids or not. I understand they didn't treat the media with that much respect, and I also understand that they were both fairly crazy, sometimes in the best and worst ways. What was the moment with Roger Clemens where he, like, someone, I forgot who the batter was. I think it was a Yankee. Was it a Yankee, or was it when Roger Clemens was on the Yankees? But when a bat broke,
Mike Piazza.
It was Mike Piazza in the bat.
Roger Clemens was on the Yankees. Mike Piazza was on the Mets.
Yeah, the bat broke, and he threw the bat at Mike Piazza. Like, that's
was it the World Series? It might have been the World Series of 2000.
Jesus Christ. It's insane. However, yeah, the Hall of Fame can't be considered a serious establishment if you don't have those guys in.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think a lot of people share that sentiment. So really, the story of baseball's Hall of Fame is interesting, isn't it? It's like we don't pay attention so much to the Hall of Fame, rather who's inducted, but we focus more rather on who's not inducted. And it's one of the few Hall of Fames where we look at it from that perspective, through that lens.
Well, you have to, because two of the biggest players of all time, arguably the greatest hitter of all time, the greatest pitcher of all time, are not in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Because the gatekeepers, the sports writers that cover baseball, are hung up on 3 words: integrity, sportsmanship, and character when it comes to voting people into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, like we talked to Matt Mayoko about it on Monday. He's like, that's not a prerequisite to get into the Hall of Fame in the NFL. Like, there's a lot of questionable guys.
For sure.
And I think you just have to overlook that stuff. Now, I bring this up all the time, and I'm not saying this guy should be in the Hall of Fame, but when it comes to the NFL, it's all predicated on what you did on the field. So would a person like Darren Sharper, should he go to the Hall of Fame? Well, if you judge it on what he did on the field, he had Hall of Fame stats, but he is a abhorrent person off the field. So I think that overrules that. With Barry Bonds, we're talking about steroids. With Roger Clemens, we're talking about steroids. With Pete Rose, yes, with him, you question the integrity of the game. So look, every year we do this.
Yeah.
Now that Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens didn't get the votes they needed for the contemporary committee, they're not eligible until 2031. So I don't know if they're ever going to get in. But kudos to Jeff Kent. In my opinion, when I was watching baseball at a young age, all I cared about was home runs. And Jeff Kent is the all-time leader when it comes to home runs for second baseman. To get most 100 RBI, most seasons with 100 or more RBIs. And yeah, he was the best second baseman offensively when I was a young kid. And I remember when the A's would play the Giants and it was the Bay Bridge series, it was Barry Bonds and Jeff Kent that you worried about. So absolutely. I think it's a mixed bag for Giants fans because you're gonna have a all-time favorite go into the Hall of Fame, and the all-time favorite, Barry Bonds, is not going to be in there. It's going to get more weird. I saw Bob Notting go tweet this out, so take it with a grain of salt, everybody. But next year, Posey's eligible. I think Bruce Bochy's eligible as well. Dusty Baker. So it's going to be a weird deal where the Giants keep celebrating Hall of Famers, but the biggest one of all time is not going to get in.
Yeah, especially with whoever gets in, if anyone gets in from this year's class, at least with first-time ballot members. Like, have you seen the first ballot Hall of Famers going into next year, or at least the first
besides Posey? No,
dude, or going into this class? It is sad. It's like you got, I think like Ryan Braun might be the only one I can think of off the top of my head who might actually be. Yeah, like honestly,
we're already there.
That's the crop of players we're talking about. I think Shin-Soo Choo is on there. Howie Kendrick.
Yeah.
Right? Howie Kendrick. The guy who was decent on the Angels and then really flourished for like a couple of seasons with the Rangers.
I'm not even going to act like I remember him, Steve.
You don't remember Howie Kendrick?
I don't.
Yeah, it's just a ball player, man.
Yeah, I know. And then that's the problem. He's just a ball player. Let's talk about the best ball players when it comes to the Hall of Fame.
I think that is kind of the story, though. Like, that's what's interesting is like you had decades of brilliance, and in the 2000s, it's mired by all these guys who were juicing. So a lot of them are questionable on whether they should get in, even though they probably should get in the first place. And now we're on to the 2010s where steroids had passed them by, or guys who are at least retired in the 2010s and the mid 2010s. And they're fine, but they're borderline Hall of Famers at best. No one's a shoe-in like last year's class with CC and Ichiro. It's definitely not like that with first ballot guys this year.
It's not. So kudos to Jeff Kent. And I think it's kind of a weird deal because he'll go in as a Giant, but he definitely had a bad ending with the Giants where he criticized the uniforms. He hated California, criticized it all the time, came back when he was a member of the Astros, went on KNBR with Ralph and Tom and said, enjoy the game more. You guys at KNBR, you Giants fans, just bitch about the game all the time. Went on Survivor. He was just a weird guy, but he's definitely deserving of being in the Hall of Fame. So kudos to him.
Forgot he went on Survivor.
He was on Survivor. Yeah. You know the athletes that are on Survivor where apparently Jeff Kent, there's another baseball player in there. Copus told me this the other day. Cliff Robinson, former Warrior.
Yeah.
And not an athlete, was back in the day, but head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, Jimmy Johnson. And he was voted off quickly because he was annoying.
Oh, John Rocker.
John Rocker. Yeah, when some members of the tribe found out that John Rocker was playing, they weren't too happy.
Yeah, you want to talk about the biggest dicks in sports. Wait,
yeah.
Pause.
Yeah. Well, he thinks he is. And if you had read any Sports Illustrated articles, has some interesting things to say about some certain people.
Yeah,
anyway.
Please, anyone, you know what? You could stop listening to this podcast. I recommend this so much that you could just stop, go watch this YouTube video, but I highly recommend it. Just search up in YouTube, Jeff Pearlman, John Rocker. Jeff Pearlman was a Sports Illustrated writer who published a piece on him, and
did he?
Yeah, and he tells...
I didn't know that was Jeff Pearlman. Wow.
Yeah, he tells the whole story from when he was sitting with Rocker throughout the entire day, just living their life, and driving on a highway with him, and just like the obscenities and the racial slurs that he would yell at people while driving on the road, going to some kids charity event, but he talked about how much he hated it and blah, blah, blah. And the fallout from it as well. I wonder if Will Clark is mentioned in that, Otis. I forgot, but I highly recommend it. It's like a 25 to 30-minute video where
okay, hold on,
explains
Otis.
his side of things.
My question is Will Clark pissed because he outed John Rocker? Or is he pissed at John Rocker for using those words?
Yeah, it's always pissed off at the messenger and not so much the message, right?
Well, I mean, John Rocker owned it after that. I don't want to make this whole thing. I will say this: the one good thing about John Rocker is it led to one of the greatest characters of all time in Eastbound and Down with Kenny Powers,
right?
Because that was the inspiration.
Yeah. By the way, in the Ringers 100 best television episodes of the century, the first episode of Eastbound and Down was up there. I forgot where it was ranked, but first episode was all time.
First episode's all down. When Kenny Powers is introduced, he's somewhat he's I guess using quotes, not directly, but paraphrasing quotes from John Rocker when he's like playing in New York. And when I was a kid and I saw that first episode, I was like, damn, this is in relation to John Rocker. That's incredible.
Yeah.
And that was the whole point. You weren't supposed to like Kenny Powers. In a way you were, but like you're supposed to laugh at him because he's making fun of a real character or a real person.
Well, that's the beautiful thing about Danny McBride, right?
Yeah.
He's an asshole in every single role that he plays, yet you almost root for him. Even when he turns into a cannibal and Channing Tatum is his whatever.
You mean Channing Tatum?
Yeah, Channing Tatum.
Speaking of gimps, did you watch the Bears-Packers broadcast with Tom Brady and all his zippers?
I saw his leather jacket.
He kind of looked like Zed from Pulp Fiction. There was multiple zippers on the thing. I was like, this is a little too much.
Yeah, the leather jacket with an overcoat. It's definitely a choice. But every time I see Brady on a broadcast, all right, yeah, I'll say it. I just noticed his forehead doesn't move. Like he's had so much.
It's a lot of Botox in that thing.
Yeah, his if you watch him, his eyebrows they can't raise up. He can't emote with eyebrows.
Yeah,
because his forehead is just frozen.
I'll say he is kind of getting better as a broadcaster, even though every now and then he kind of annoys me. He doesn't do the Tony Romo like, oh, Jim, but like when there's a big touchdown, he knows that weird yell he has of, oh!
Yeah. I'm not mad at that. I still think I just don't like his voice explaining plays. It's too like
it's the voice
screechy.
For you?
Huh?
It's the voice?
Yeah, it's just too screechy. Look at the catch. It's like he speaks in like forward increments and it's slow. It's like I just don't know.
I think he's improving though.
Yeah, but improving to where he just should have taken the job of Greg Olsen right there when Olsen is a much, much better broadcaster.
Well, I'm at the point where Greg Olsen is wasting away as the number 2 guy with Joe Davis. Greg Olsen should be on Amazon Prime. Like Kirk Herbstreit does a good job, but let's get an actual NFL guy in there. But I've been pounding on the door for that for 4 seasons now, and that's not changing anytime soon. So
yeah, well, that whole broadcast booth needs an overhaul.
Yeah, Michaels doesn't give a shit.
Good pre and post game show.
Yes, it is. I text you that every time, or I did for a while, and then I stopped. I was like, "You're not responding to these."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right. Should we start with, I guess, the Raiders? I mean, there's nothing really to take away from this game. They, at this point, we expect the Raiders to lose the remainder of their schedule, with the exception of maybe the Giants game. But yeah, the Broncos, good performance by Bo Nix. He's the one reason that I'm not buying them. But 31 to 38 for 212 yards. And I'll just say, like, Kenny Pickett gives the Raiders a little more mobility when he was in there for an injured Geno Smith. So maybe that's something to look for the remainder of the way. But I don't know. It's the same deal. I didn't know Cedric Jackson, Bo Jackson's nephew, was on the team and caught that touchdown pass.
I had no clue. For him. I had no clue who that was.
But his first catch ever in the NFL, it's a touchdown. Yeah. Good for him. That's very Bo Jackson-like.
Derek, you know what the thing about the Raiders is?
They suck.
They suck, and no one gives a shit anymore. Like, I know we're talking about it, but like really the Athletic.
When you say nobody, who are you talking about?
I'm talking about the Athletic. Once the Athletic let Tashawn Reed go, I think he's covering Washington now. Vic Tafer now covering the 49ers. They don't have anyone covering the Raiders. They're just, Raiders beat. Who cares? Nobody's doing it for the Athletic anymore. One of the biggest publications in sports media. Yeah. ESPN does, obviously. Paul Gutierrez is going to continue to cover them, and good old Hondo is going to be doing things for Sports Illustrated.
Yeah, Hondo.
Yeah. But and now this Jesse Merritt guy is kind of up and coming, who just started this.
He's not bad.
Who just did this random Silver and Black network. I don't know what it is. I don't know where he's just out of nowhere.
But he's actually asking football questions with the Cover 3 question last week.
Yeah. And they got that Mitchell Renz dude who is basically the Chase Senior of the Raiders, except he seems to actually be a fan of them. Whereas,
does that really count though? Like a YouTuber?
I don't know. I mean, still, the people pay attention to him. Raider Cody hasn't been seen or heard from in a long time, really, since Derek Carr left. So that's
Raider Cody.
Yeah, Kenny King's still doing his thing, but still defending Antonio Pierce to the death. And then,
Kenny King's doing that. Okay.
The Athletic has nobody. The Athletic has nobody covering the team anymore. So,
well, that will change. I'm assuming that's going to change. I mean, Tashawn Reed,
probably next season. When I'm talking about this season, it's just no one cares.
No, but didn't he leave right before the season started?
It was not. I don't know if it was before the season started. It was. I think it was at the beginning of the. It was into the season. He was writing a few pieces.
Yeah, I remember him reporting on Christian Wilkins, and at that point, it's hard to replace somebody.
True. It's just. The Athletic felt, no one cares that much. We're not getting that much traction on the Raiders page. We're just going to scrap it.
They're having an all-time bad season. And really, again, like when I say all-time, it's like we've seen 2-14 seasons before, 2006. So I'd say they get maybe one more win against the Giants, but I don't really know. Anyway, the biggest thing from this game was the cover because the Broncos were favored by 8, right?
Correct.
So they were leading by 10. With how much time left? Good deal of time, 2 minutes left. And this was after the Kenny Pickett touchdown pass to Cedric Jackson. And then the Raiders go on this little drive to end the game. How much time was left remaining in this game? So they spike the ball. 17 seconds left. Then Kenny Pickett throws a pass to Tyler Lockett for 26 yards. And I know some people are going to complain about the delay of game penalty on Brandon Jones. That was valid. He messed with the ball. I understand that. And then there was 5 seconds remaining. Pete Carroll claims he was arguing with the ref to get 8 seconds. And by the time they kick the field goal, no time remains. It's 24-17. We got a cover on our hands. And I noticed it right away when I was watching the game at Massier's. And thank you for everybody that showed up. Rocca Nuera, AJ Cruz, Ernie One, Tacky. And I'll get to the discrepancy or not discrepancy, but the claim that I wasn't grateful for all your gifts. I'll get to that later, guys. But when I saw that the Raiders kicked the field goal, I was like, what the fuck is that? Come on, Pete, not going to go for the field goal? And Danny Dunn and Walter. Yes, thank you. But Dave Portnoy took it to a whole nother level. Do we have the video, Steven?
I do.
So I texted you on Sunday night, and I laughed at this originally, but then I didn't see all of what he was saying. And this is just unhinged, better behavior. So he'll explain what happened here, but Dave Portnoy goes unhinged after the Raiders cover the spread against the Broncos.
That's the worst beat of all time. And you have to investigate the Raiders. Investigate the Raiders. What are they doing? What the fuck? That's the worst beat of all time. That is cheating. What the fuck? I got to rewind this. That's the worst fucking beat of all time. This is the worst beat of all time. Pete Carroll should be in fucking prison. Prison for Pete Carroll. First of all, the refs, everybody. This is prison. This is prison. There's 16 seconds left in the game. By the way, the play before this, there was fucking 20 seconds. They threw it. Prison. The spread's 8.5. They spiked the ball, by the way. They ran up and spiked it as a tempo. Prison Pete Carroll. Murder Pete Carroll. I want Pete Carroll murdered. Can you see this play right here? Can you see this play? 10, 9, 8. Scramble, throws it down. Game's over. There's 8, 7, 6. They throw a flag for sitting on the guy with 4 seconds. They're not even going to come close to getting a playoff. They call a delay a game with 4 seconds. They weren't even, the game was over. The game was over. What the hell? And then they run out the field goal unit, kick a field goal with no time left. Prison!
Steven, your thoughts?
What am I supposed to think? He has a nice house. No, really, like
that was my thought too.
I've gone back and forth about Dave Portnoy a lot in my life because we've known about him for so long now. And the fact is he just built an empire and has the beads where I guess I read like he lost out on like $250K or something by losing that bet. But it's just, I don't know. I don't have any sympathy or empathy for him because obviously I can't resonate with that, with losing that much money on a Raiders and Broncos game that's absolutely meaningless. But I'm also like, this is what convinced me. Like the thing with Barstool that gets me is like, I respect everything that they've done for the most part. Obviously they've had a lot of controversy along the way, but I just don't think the people who work there actually enjoy sports unless they have some money riding on whatever game they're watching. Like they have their hometown teams. They're dedicated to, I mean, I know he's a big New England guy, Patriots and Boston and all that. And I know like Big Cat's a huge Chicago guy, a big Bulls and Bears fan. And, you know, PFT is like a huge, he's from DC, I think. So he's like a big Commanders, Capitals guy.
Yep.
Very dedicated to their hometown teams. But when it comes to the rest of sports, like unless they have money riding on it, then they don't really, I don't know how much they'd really care about it. That's the thing that gets me about Barstool. It's just so much betting. But I also thought, like, if someone else with a different interest is reacting to that interest in a way that he's reacting to losing money on a sporting event, then I guarantee you everyone in the sports realm would call that person insane.
Absolutely.
I just think there needs to be the Antonio Pierce. Hey, use those index fingers. You can point, but you also got to use those thumbs and you got to point back. Like, it's crazy how much we normalize that type of reaction when it comes to results in something like that. It's I don't know. I just love to show that to somebody with no context, and when they find out that it's on a Broncos Raiders game in week 14, which literally has no implications at all on what's going to happen in the future of the playoffs, maybe except for the Broncos like winning the AFC West, like that's a pretty big deal for them, I guess. Right. But you show it to somebody and it's just like, the hell's he getting on saying? What? That's nuts.
Yeah, it's unhinged behavior. Yeah, if this is basically on the same level to me as, what was the guy's name? I think it was Chris Crocker, one of the original YouTube videos of him crying in his bed, being like, leave Britney alone. And we all made fun of that. We all made fun of that. This is on the same level. I don't care if it's about sports and it's more manly. No, you look insane doing this. But as far as Dave Portnoy, like, this needs to be a whole expose on him. I like his pizza reviews. Do I like everything he does at Barstool? No. I think that what's gone on lately with some of the anti-Semitic stuff is terrible. But also he's definitely called out groups of people in the past. He's just a very controversial person. So whatever, however you think about him, that's your own personal preference.
Right.
But for this video, yes, I can't stand when people in our industry, sports media, this is what it is now, where I have to go live. I have to give my reaction to something. And they harmed me. They did emotional pain to me because I decided to bet $500,000 on a Raiders Broncos fucking regular season game. So now I have to tell the whole world how upset I am when no one's going to feel sorry for you that you have that amount of money. Come on, dude. I was laughing up until he said murder Pete Carroll, and I get it. It's a joke. I didn't take him seriously. but that's ridiculous. And some of his fans are unhinged. So once you start that stuff on social media, people react a certain way. I'm not going to say people actually go to Pete Carroll's house and kill him, but like, come on, dude, that's a ridiculous reaction. And also, no football. Brandon Jones did cause a penalty. That was delay a game. He was screwing with them. Should Pete Carroll have kicked the field goal? I don't know. I thought that was kind of crazy too, but I don't know. To be that unhinged and then to go on Barstool Sports the next day and be like, do I have to explain to all of you that I was joking? It was a metaphorical murder. Well, no shit it was, but you have to say that? That's insane. So whatever. I don't want to make too much out about it, but like that's like the biggest takeaway from the Raiders game, honestly.
It's tame compared to what a lot of athletes, I think, go through, though, on a regular basis when it comes to people who lose bets on them and maybe find that they are the reason that they ended up losing that bet, whether it's a prop or whether it's the point spread, the over-under, whatever it is, the money line. Like, I think that was tame compared to what's actually said in private, which makes you think. But I do think it's pretty layered when you think about this video. I don't care about Dave Portnoy so much. Like,
Yeah.
he built an empire. Like, he won. Like, he's absolutely wealthy. Like, look at that house that he's in. You know what I mean? So I don't really care about him, but I do think it speaks to a larger point of where sports media is at now, where a lot of the members just make it about them.
Yeah.
Like, when did the top 10 quarterback conversation stop being about the top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL? It's as soon as Cam Newton decided to malign Jalen Hurts, and then it ended up being a thing with him and that one Eagles super fan, and that went all crazy on social media. And then we went away from the top
Gilly the Kid
conversation. It just always turns into somehow it always circles back to it being about the actual media member instead of being about the actual sport. And that goes to First Take. That goes a little bit to Pat McAfee show. Like the clip they shared from a Jordan Love interview earlier today was about how one of their hosts went crazy when the Packers
I saw
Jordan Love in the first round. Like it's always circles back to, hey, let's make it about the media member as opposed to making it about the actual sport. And that's a real issue and a struggle. And I also have with myself because I tend to talk about myself a lot, and it's a whole thing. I go back and forth in my head quite a bit about it.
Yeah, I think that you always have to have confidence in yourself, but I think people are too arrogant when it comes to being a media personality. Like, again, I'm in no way, shape, or form close to any of these people that are on ESPN, but I'll say this. I know Kyle Shanahan comes on with us once a week. I don't think he knows my name. And I don't think he knows Copes' name either. I think he knows us as the guy that used to host with Tom and Greg's son. And you know what? That's fine. I'm okay with that. I don't have to have that arrogance where I think he knows my name or the name of our show. But some people would think, like, as you brought up today, Stephen, Jordan Love goes on with Pat McAfee and Ty Schmidt, who's a well-known guy on their show, one of the producers and one of the personalities. But they actually ask him, did you see the meltdown from years ago where I was mad that you got drafted? And he goes, yeah, I saw it. But and good for him to say that. But also, like, I would never have the balls to do that. And maybe that's on me. But at the same time, like, I don't see myself in the same way. Like, just because something went viral, you think an athlete cares about that shit? Come on now. Sure. So yeah, we're not breaking down games anymore, and this is the way things are now. We're talking about I lost money because Pete Carroll decided to kick a field goal. Now, do you have the clip I sent you of Pete Carroll explaining this?
I do.
It's not a great explanation either, but I do wonder where, it's not like the game was over, so who gives a shit? But I don't know. I thought it was kind of a weird decision, but also I thought that Dave Portnoy was weird to begin with posting the video. But if you lose what was it, $500,000 on a game like that, you're bound to be upset. But why are you placing a bet on that in the first place? That's like a Super Bowl bet to me. Anyway, this is Pete Carroll explaining his thought process with kicking the field goal at the end of the game.
Well, if you notice, I was battling with the official, making a plea because we saw 8 seconds, 7, which would have given us a chance to kick the field goal, kick an onside kick, and maybe have a second left. And then when it went down to 5 or went down to 3 or whatever they did, and then they put it back to 5 or whatever, then I knew it was going to look stupid. Like you couldn't figure out why we were doing this. So, but one, it was 8, and I was trying to get it to 10. I was talking 10, with the guy trying to get it back up. And I thought I'd had a chance to plead it and plead it, and they might give me a shot. And so I was just competing all it was. But fans couldn't understand. Like you're asking the question, but there was a real clear thought what we were trying to get down there, just to take it down to the very last click.
I like how he says there's a very clear thought when that was the complete opposite of a clear answer.
Yeah, that was a lot of rambling, but I get what Pete is trying to say. He had a plan in place, and then the clock screwed it up. But Pete, you can make adjustments on the fly when you see it's 4 seconds left. Like at that point, the game's over. You might as well just kneel down.
Yeah,
it made no sense.
Accept defeat, man. Just accept
Yeah.
it. You were done.
Yeah. Well,
And
I mean,
I think he's on the way out. So it's like, just accept it.
Do you really think so? Do you think he's getting fired?
I don't know if he's getting fired, but I think he might step down.
I don't get that sense from him. I think he's really dedicated to the game still.
Maybe.
I don't know. I haven't. I know Diana Rossini's reporting that. I haven't heard a lot about that though, where he wants to. That's a thing. Now, that of course, it's a thing, and it's not a thing until it becomes a thing, and then everybody's like, we've known for quite some time behind closed doors that Pete Carroll has thought about stepping down. I don't think he wants to. I think that maybe they'll, congregate in a room, Tom Brady and John Spytek and Pete Carroll, and just be like, does this make sense anymore? Does it make sense to have a younger guy in there? I mean, shoot, they were talking about Robert Saleh being the defensive coordinator and the coach in waiting. Is Robert Saleh in a position to pass up on a job? Is Robert Saleh the right guy for this team? I don't know. That's a conversation for another day, but I don't think it's a foregone conclusion that Pete Carroll is fired. He's just a guy with a ton of, respect and, a great reputation in the NFL, and just to fire him after one season, that would be a bad look on the Raiders' part, but also this has been a horrible season. So I understand that as well.
Yeah. I'm indifferent, dude. I'm
Yeah.
indifferent to everything that they do now. Like, really, they make a coaching hire. Okay. What if they, like, I literally was just about to bring this up, and Otis Bird mentioned it. Like, he said, I hope Robert Saleh stays as the Niners defensive coordinator, at least for another year. Yeah, I don't think that's happening. But say Robert Saleh becomes the Raiders head coach. Cool. Awesome.
Yeah, I know.
Say they take a quarterback within a top 5 as a top 5 draft pick. I don't know who they'd take. If it's Fernando Mendoza, which people are already putting in the Raiders edits of Fernando Mendoza in a Raiders jersey. Yeah. Cool. Let me see it.
God. Can you imagine that?
I'm indifferent to everything right now.
I'm sorry. Well, yeah, and you have a right to be. But, like, people gave Derek Carr crap for being kind of like the goody two-shoes quarterback of the Raiders. Fernando Mendoza, great performance against Ohio State in the Big Ten Championship. Just a piss missile thrown on that third down play that got them the win. And also just Ohio State kicker pulling a Jake Moody, missing a 27-yarder to tie the game up. Good Lord. But after the game, like, he is Sean McVay in a skinny, 22-year-old's body, where he's like, oh, the glory to God, my teammates, I just want to thank everybody. Like, if he became a Raider, God, yeah, here we go. Here's Fernando Mendoza, the presumed trophy or the Heisman Trophy winner after they beat Ohio State for the Big Ten Championship.
And also, for those watching, watch the smile after he makes like his little opening statement, and then I forgot who the reporter was, but she goes into the question. Fernando Mendoza.
To give all the glory to God. We were never supposed to be in this position, but by the glory of God, the great coaches, great teammates, everyone we have around us, we were able to pull this off. Whoever thought the Hoosiers would be here, but now the Hoosiers are flipping champs. Let's go.
You guys call yourself a bunch of misfits who found the right home at Indiana. Why was this the right place for this group?
It's the right place for process oriented. We're going day by day. Whether it's the offensive line, the defense, the coaches, special teams, we're all process oriented to one goal. That's our thing, is we're brothers. We can drag teams to the deep end because we know that we're going to stick together and we're the strongest glue ever.
Wow. He is using all of the cliches that his head coach, Kurt Sigietti, says in pregame interviews as well.
The strongest glue ever.
Strongest glue ever. Yeah, he's going to be great for the PR teams, whatever team he goes to. He seems talented as well, but yeah, he seems very Sean McVay to me, where he's kind of a little phony.
Phony?
You think? I don't know. Like, just kind of
I think
weird.
that's all him, man. That is him to a T.
Yeah.
Did you see him at Cal last year at all?
I did not, actually.
Dude, his interview after Stanford sounded exactly like that.
I'm not
Literally
phony's the
same
wrong
thing.
word. Phony's the wrong word. Just, I don't know.
I think he is authentic. And Sean McVay's not phony. What are you talking about?
It's not phony. It's just kind of. It's
You think
just
it's
too
played
much.
up?
Like they just kind of speak too. I don't want to say speak too well, but like it's just like a little just performative when they're talking.
Okay, well here's my thing. Would you rather have a player like Justin Herbert?
Okay, I wanted to get to this. So that was a great post-game interview. Let's play the Justin Herbert from last night because I have no issue with this whatsoever, but people just went crazy about this today. I've never seen
You have
outrage
no
like
issue
this.
with this?
Not at all.
Why?
Do you do, Steven? Come on. He didn't even do
I'm-
anything wrong.
I think he was a dick.
He was not a dick. Come on.
Yeah.
What? Chat and people the same.
Chat.
Yeah, YouTube chat. Watch this clip and tell me what you think of Justin Herbert after they beat the Eagles last night.
Yeah, I'm trying to celebrate with my team.
No, I know, but can we just talk to you really fast? What was it like to watch the interception there that sealed this game for you guys to get this win?
Yeah, the defense played incredible. You know, they came up with so many big stops today, so so proud to be able to play for those guys, and the way they compete down in, down out is really fun to watch.
Okay, yeah. So he goes on with another little cliche after that.
Well, but then he's asked, how does your hand feel? And he goes, great, thank you for asking. And like you could tell he's trying to speed it up and get out of there. Steven, listen, I know that it was caught on film or caught on tape with him saying like, yeah, I don't want to do an interview. I just want to celebrate with my teammates. And then Laura Rutledge then says, yeah, but can we talk to you for a little bit of time? I get he's the quarterback. That's on the PR guy too. Like, I don't know what happened there where he should have told Justin Herbert, you have to do an interview right now. I don't think he came across as a dick. I think he just was a guy that was tired after a game, and he did get the interview after all.
Yeah, I guess so.
Well,
I
what's the dickish nature that you're getting from this?
Because you're making tens of millions of dollars and a reporter's trying to ask you about a win after a big game.
Yeah,
Just know it comes with the territory. How about that?
it does come with the territory. I get that, but it wasn't like I don't think he was overly rude. I think at the end of the day, he stopped and gave the interview. I think people also thought that Tom Brady was a dick years ago when he came back for his first game after tearing his ACL, and Susie Colbert was trying to do an interview with him on a Monday Night Football game, and he's jogging off the field. It doesn't stop for her. He's just running simultaneously while she's asking questions. It just comes with the territory sometimes of being a reporter. Athletes are not always going to be the most welcoming. He got his ass kicked in that game. He got sacked 7 times. His hand hurts. Yes, he should expect to do an interview on a nationally televised game, but I thought the outrage today was a little too much. Like some people, like even I love Larry Krueger, but he called him a weasel, and I was like, I think that's a little too far. I think
No,
that was a
Justin
little
Herbert
too
needs
far.
to win something before he could start acting like that. Get a ring.
Wow.
Win in the playoffs.
Jesus Christ. Okay. I don't know. People
Celebrate with his team. He doesn't want to celebrate anything.
yeah, he does. What are you talking about? He wants to celebrate and he wants to get home to what's her name? Madison Beer.
Yeah.
Dude, same reaction today when we talked about it on KMBR. People were like, "No, Herbert's an asshole," and I'm like, "What are we talking about here?
No.
Wasn't that bad? Jesus Christ!"
Herbert, by all accounts, he loves his privacy. That's for sure.
Yeah,
But he's also he's a genuinely good dude who just wants to play football and doesn't seem to
Right.
be in it for the limelight. So, but yeah, win a ring.
okay, fair enough. Well, speaking of a guy that didn't win a ring during his, I think, Hall of Fame career, but he's coming back. Just watching the Colts-Jaguars game on Sunday, it was over right when Daniel Jones went down. And that, at the time, made me believe, okay, the Colts are done. And I didn't even know that Anthony Richardson was injured with the broken orbital bone. And by the way, I thought Daniel Jones, like immediately my reaction was, damn, should he played on that broken fibula? But it's the opposite leg.
Mm.
But then again, you hear people talk. Some people are saying even when you have an injury, you overcompensate for some part of your body. So maybe that's what led to his ruptured Achilles, or not
Yeah.
ruptured, torn, whatever it is, whatever terminology you want to use. But that sucks for Daniel Jones because he was in contention for a comeback player of the year. He was having a really solid season. He was the reason why the Colts were having this, AFC South leading season for the most part. And now playing on a 1-year deal, his future's up in the air. A lot of people are saying the timeline's fine. He could rehab all the offseason and come back week 1. But would the Colts be willing to give him a long-term deal? I don't know right now. And they were trying to go all in for this season with trading for Sauce Gardner for 2 first-round picks. So the Daniel Jones injury, that sucks for him. We'll get to the Phillip Rivers angle, but just real quick, your thoughts on the injury.
I mean, it was awful, man. There's no other way around it. You could tell it was season ending. And I think all the things that you just mentioned, I wonder if he had those thoughts in the back of his mind. As the season is starting to slip away, as they had lost 3 of their last 4 going into that game, and then now obviously lost 4 of their last 5, with their AFC South title on the brink now with Houston and on the rise in Jacksonville that just happens to keep on winning. They're like the 2023 Vikings. They're insane. Not
as good, but yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, they're not as good as that, but you know what I mean. Just
Yeah.
a lot of close games in that where it's like, God, are they really that good?
I think the Texans are better.
Yeah. But also, I didn't know that Riley Leonard was the backup. And
Yeah.
that's where maybe, I don't know, the Anthony Richardson thing was just a total failure on their end. Like, this could have been his moment, but instead, now it's going to go to someone else. But as far as the injury, like, I think when he slammed his helmet to the ground, I wonder if all those feelings that, what if all the I wonder if he just knew in the back of his mind, like, oh, it's a year-long contract. Like, nothing's guaranteed for me. Like, I just wonder if he had that running through his head as soon as the injury happened, because that's as pissed as you're going to see Daniel Jones, who seems to be an even-keeled individual.
It reminded me of, it's worse than this 8 years ago, but it kind of reminds me of Derek Carr breaking his leg on Christmas Eve against the Colts, and you knew the season was over. Yeah, that's kind of the same deal with the Colts. Like, would you rather, like if we go back in time with the Raiders, and they already had enough wins at that point where they were going to the playoffs, but would you rather be like the Colts with the potential of just losing out and not making the playoffs altogether, or be like the Raiders where you go to the playoffs, but you have Connor Cook, and it's just terrible in the playoff game?
Yeah, I know. But with this situation, I mean, you might have Riley Leonard, or you could have Phillip Rivers.
Yes. But answer my question, Steven. Would you rather miss the playoffs altogether because your quarterback's injured, and what are you playing for at this point? Or would you like to be in like the Raiders in 2016 where you went to the playoffs, got your ass kicked with Connor Cook at quarterback?
Yeah, playoffs and ass kicked.
Yeah, I guess. Even though like that was fun that day. I remember us celebrating the Raiders going to the postseason and the wild card game. But yeah, just like what could have been. It sucked.
Right. But I would rather, like, I wouldn't want that result, but I would much rather go into the playoffs with a backup quarterback rather than lose out for the rest of the season, because you're 0-0 at that point. There's hope.
Well, when you're the Colts, you have to find a way, and we're post-trade deadline. And I think some people were even suggesting, should the Colts get a backup quarterback? Because at the time, we didn't know what was going on with Anthony Richardson. And I think some people were even tweeting out, like, the Colts should trade for Russell Wilson because they are one Daniel Jones bad hit away from their season being over with Riley Leonard. And I thought about that after the game. Like, could Russell Wilson ask for his release? He's not making a ton of money with the Giants. They went to Jameis Winston a couple weeks ago. Jackson Dart's going to get the rest of the starts the remainder of the season. Does it make sense for Russell Wilson to get his way out of the New York Giants? And then our guy, John Joe Curley, at the studio was like, you know what, my man? What about Phillip Rivers? And I was like, Phillip Rivers hasn't played since 2020. He goes, yeah, but Colts know him. Shane Steichen knows him from back in the day, being the quarterback coach for the Chargers. And I was like, yeah, I'll have to see it to believe it. And then again, I am reminded, I should say, of the
49ers.
The 49ers inquiring about Phillip Rivers during the 2022 playoffs.
Yeah.
When Brock Purdy was the starter and Josh Johnson was the backup quarterback. But had the 49ers beat the Eagles and gone to the Super Bowl, Kyle Shanahan was talking to Phillip Rivers. So that crossed my mind as soon as the news broke on Monday that the Colts were going to work out Phillip Rivers. And then today it became official. He's signing with the Colts. He's going to be on the practice squad. and you got to believe with Riley Leonard injured himself, I know if it's going to be this week, it's very likely we're going to see Phillip Rivers, all shucks and all, against the 49ers on Monday Night Football on the 22nd. So,
Yeah.
this is insane. I love it. I don't know if it's going to solve their problems. And also, it kind of sucks for Phillip Rivers because he was on the cusp of the Hall of Fame. And now if he plays it down, it resets another 5 years. So he's got to wait a whole 10 years to get into the Hall of Fame. And I think he is a Hall of Fame quarterback, despite how much I couldn't stand him kicking the Raiders' ass.
Yeah.
And you know, I hate the clip, the NFL Films clip of him calling out Rolando McClain. He always just talks shit, and I couldn't stand that about him. But damn, he was good. So, Steven, I'll eat this chip, and then I'll let you eat the chip after you give your take. But your thoughts on Phillip Rivers potentially coming to save the day for the Indianapolis Colts?
Honestly, I do not have a vessel to eat this hot sauce, so give me a moment.
Okay.
One thing that I'm going to say, though, is how did the Colts not cover their bases here at the trade deadline? Like, how did you not inquire about some sort of quarterback to back up Daniel Jones? Because Riley Leonard is a 6th-round pick, and as soon as he went out there, he didn't look ready at all. Like, normally with a backup like that, you maybe think they could be serviceable, but there are throws that he's just not even completing. Like, quite a few passes were short. Just the arm strength wasn't there. Obviously, Anthony Richardson was going to be out, and they already knew that they were done with him anyway. So why didn't they cover all their tracks and potentially just everything? Like in the second half of the season, they were really going for it, and they might have been so focused on Sauce Gardner that they forgot on one little thing. It's called the music. No, they forgot about the backup quarterback. Like,
read between the lines.
So I think that has something to do with it. But as far as this, just with Phillip Rivers being in the NFL alone, it's awesome. I mean, this season's going to be really exciting down the stretch. Like, it's super close.
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny to think, but the Eagles seem to be like the only team with a little bit of breathing room in the NFC, whereas every other team in every division, whether it's the Buccaneers, the Rams, their jobs their place at the top of their division is not safe. And the 5 through 7, like those teams they're interchangeable really at this point. One win and one loss can change everything. So besides that, this is just another added wrinkle to it. And the fact that he's doing this, it's not unprecedented. The NFL has seen it before, but this is definitely the first time we're seeing it in our generation where this dude, who is a Hall of Fame semifinalist and is likely going to have his eligibility pushed back to 2031 if he's elevated to the active roster, which is just insane.
What a sacrifice.
A guy who could have been a first ballot Hall of Famer, who probably was going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. But
you think so?
I think so.
First ballot?
Yeah.
Eli Manning's not even first ballot, man.
Yeah, debatable. But yeah, as far as that, it's awesome. And it's just Phillip Rivers just loves ball, man. He loves football.
Now, he's been coaching high school football for, I don't know if it's been the last 5 years, but I thought he was going to be a great commentator. I thought he'd be great on television. But yeah, when you hear that he was contemplating coming back, out of retirement to play for the 49ers, then this is not surprising. But it is just because it's been 5 years, man. The last time we saw this guy, he was playing in a empty stadium in a COVID playoff game against the Bills, and he actually played fairly well. I get it with Shane Steichen; he knows him well. It's just, man, I don't know what's going to look. I have no idea what it's going to look like, and that's the entertainment value to it.
Right.
But I have to believe that it's not going to be enough. I hate to be pessimistic about it, but just the fact that he hasn't played in 5 years makes me wonder, like, what is he actually going to bring? Now, he still could sling it probably, but he's not going to be mobile. So will opposing
the offensive line is going to have to be perfect.
Exactly.
That's it.
Like, this is, like we think Aaron Rodgers looks old right now. Phillip Rivers is going to be old coming off the couch. Like, I'm trying to think of other times where I saw something like this. Like, remember Vinny Testaverde coming off the couch to play for the Carolina Panthers? I don't know how old he was, maybe 44, 45. Actually played fairly well with throwing it to Steve Smith, but if you're Robert Saleh and the 49ers, your game plan is just make sure Jonathan Taylor doesn't beat us. Sell out on Jonathan Taylor And then, yeah, make sure that if we're going to lose, it's because Phillip Rivers has to dice us up. And it makes it much easier for the 49ers. And again, I would assume he's going to play against them, but who knows? Maybe they just I can't believe they signed Phillip Rivers just to be a backup quarterback. But I don't know. We'll see how it goes here. I have to believe that the 49ers pass rush, who hasn't been great this season, can get after Phillip Rivers.
Yeah.
And there will be blitzes that Robert Saleh draws up. So after I saw the injury to Daniel Jones, I was like, okay, the 49ers are making the playoffs now. It's not even a question.
For sure.
I was skeptical the last 3 games of the season with their defense, but without Daniel Jones, they should be able to beat the Colts. And now with Phillip Rivers, I'm going to assume they should be able to beat him too. But that's what's going to be so intriguing is I have no idea how this is going to look. So I'm all in, man. I'm in for all of the 2004 NFL draft class coming out of retirement. Give me Eli Manning. Give me Ben Roethlisberger. Give me J.P. Lossman. Give me all these old guys coming back.
Think they would have fared better had they gone for Derek Carr?
Yes. But they're in a pickle because the Saints still own his rights. So they could easily just tell him no. Now, he could have asked for his release, but they have yet to do so. And I still believe that Derek Carr wants to play. And, I think there's some people out there, they're like, how come they didn't talk to Colin Kaepernick? And I get that, but if you really want to go there, Colin Kaepernick hasn't played in 10 years, longer than Phillip Rivers. So is he younger? Yes. Is he more mobile than Phillip Rivers? Got to believe so. But you can't deny that there is a familiarity factor with Shane Steichen knowing Phillip Rivers.
Right. But going back and watching some of his touchdown passes earlier today, the Chargers posted each of his 397.
They did?
TD hauls. It's an hour and 43 minutes long. I didn't watch the entire thing. But
about to say that would have been impressive if you did.
I was just looking for some highlights earlier today. But one thing I thought is, goddamn, in the social media era, if he was coming out of NC State and he was part of the draft class in this age now where everyone seems to be a ball knower, a film watcher, and an NFL junkie, then they would look at his throwing motion and think there's no chance that he's going to become a successful.
Yeah,
NFL
true.
quarterback.
Yeah.
That's the first thing I thought. But the second thing is, I do believe that Shane Steichen can put him in a position to be successful. And I do think that he would be a better option than Riley Leonard, believe it or not, in that he could just drop back to pass and just throw a little floater, throw one of those little sidearm passes that he would always throw to Vincent Jackson or Keenan Allen or Antonio Gates, whomever you want to pick from that crop of players. Like, I think he could still be accurate with the football. I don't think there's going to be a lot of 5-step drops, but it's also an NFL game where you're going to have to improvise every once in a while. The offensive line is going to break down on a player or two, and that's really where the questions come in. But
he's gonna get sacked.
If we're talking
100%.
about just conventional quarterback play, I think there's going to be a couple of chances where we look at it as, damn, Rivers could still sling it, but I don't think it's going to result in a playoff berth for Indianapolis. I actually think I don't know if the Texans are going to win that division, but I think the Texans might be the best team in that division right now if CJ Stroud keeps playing the way he's playing.
Hands down, and they play the last week of the season, and I am a little worried for Phillip Rivers. Just, he's been in retirement for the last 5 years, going up against that defense with Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter. Those guys hit.
Yeah.
So,
you mean Bronny James?
What's up?
Will Anderson looks identical to Bronny James.
Oh, yeah, kind of. Yeah, I see it.
Dude, it's identical.
Yeah, no, he does. Okay, let me eat this chip real quick. Ooh. Oh, those popcorners don't soak up the taste. If you're Riley Leonard,
hang on.
If you're Riley Leonard, how do you feel about this? I get it's Phillip Rivers, and he could be a future Hall of Famer, but you're going to bring in a 44-year-old? And I know he got hurt. But who's my guy with the Bengals earlier this year? Jake Browning.
Yes.
If he was pissed off about Joe Flacco, I gotta believe some people on the Colts are like, Jesus Christ. You're calling Phillip Rivers hasn't played in 5 years. Whew. We're not gonna say anything.
I'm just watching you. I'm just letting it breathe.
I was letting you take that point.
How Riley Leonard is feeling about it, he's probably pissed.
Yeah.
I would be too, but I also think there's something more serious with this knee injury than they're letting on.
Yeah,
I mean,
probably.
He might not even play on Sunday, dude, in Seattle.
Well, I thought Dieter Kurtenbach had a good tweet where he was like, if you're Sam Ellinger and you're on this practice squad and you're much more mobile than Daniel Jones, how do you feel about this? But then again, Philip
Also
Rivers
that.
is a potential Hall of Famer. So
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not going to spend my day diving into the minds of Riley Leonard or Sam Ellinger.
yeah, fair enough.
Man, how do they? I wonder how they're feeling about this and get all impassioned about that. No, dude, it's Philip Rivers coming back. Like the last time, and I looked it up because I'm not going to act like I knew this information. Thank you. Got chips. I'm not going to act like I knew this information before, but Albert Breer mentioned it. How Steve DeBerg, South Bay legend, San Jose State, San Francisco 49ers, how he came back to the Falcons after
1998
retirement. He was 44. He played in just one regular season game, and it was towards the end of October. And he was on that Super Bowl roster that ended up playing the Broncos. And I think both him and Elway retired after that year officially. So we might not see Rivers for more than one game. This could be just a way to get by with Riley Leonard's injury. I would imagine I'd have to. I mean, they took him in the draft. He was a 6th round pick, but they took him in the draft regardless. I'd have to think they had a conversation and said, look, he's just going to be a placeholder here. We need your knee to get better. We're going to ride with you the rest of the way. However, what if Philip Rivers goes out there and balls out, dude?
Well, if you're Philip Rivers, though, are you coming out of retirement just to play one game, though, and jeopardize your Hall of Fame status?
True. That's true. Yeah, there's really not much. There's not really much value to that, is there, dude? We need a mic'd up. We need Philip Rivers mic'd up as soon as he's back out there. The clip got posted. I think NFL posted it or someone reposted it from the NFL page, but it was him playing against the Jaguars and the Jaguar. I forgot who the edge rusher was, but he helped him up. He helped Rivers up after he got sacked. And he goes, that was a 90-yard touchdown. And he's like, hey, bro, you can't do that in my ear. What? I'm just excited. I'm not allowed to be excited. We need that.
So my question is, though, we'll see what happens when he plays. Is this worth it, though? There's like some former NFL players are like, bro, Philip, what are you doing? Like, you could have gone to the Hall of Fame. Now I got to wait another 5 years. And you could be the savior of this team, cool, but like, that was your time, man. That was your time in the sun 5 years ago. Why are you doing this? And to each their own, different strokes for different folks. He still has a burning desire to play. And it's a good situation with the team that could make the playoffs. But I am wondering that too, like, do you really want to go out like this? Like, do you really want to wait another 5 years to get into the Hall of Fame because you want to potentially help the Colts? It's not a guaranteed thing. They don't have the playoff berth clinched or anything. But I don't know. Why do you want to do this? It's going to be very interesting to hear him talk to the media this week and explain himself, I guess.
Well, when he had kid number 7, I'm sure a lot of people were asking why. And I'm sure Philip Rivers responded, why not? I'll have 3 more. And I think it's the same with the NFL. Everyone could ask me why. I ask them, why not?
Fair enough.
And then you say you ruined your eligibility for the Hall of Fame. You might not even get there, and it's going to not be till the next decade, and all the things that you just mentioned. It's a little different than having kids, but I just wanted to get it out there again that Rivers has 10 kids, 10 of them. And
10 kids now?
Yeah, he would drive them out, and I think to games and stuff in an RV, or he would live in one area. And
he lived in San Diego and drove to LA every day with his kids.
Yeah, wow. Look, man, a lot of times past, I do love Philip Rivers. Do love him. I love that he's back. I love that it's way more exciting to me than Riley Leonard or Sam Ellinger. I don't care. Oh,
God, yeah, of course it is.
I don't care how they're feeling. Like, I really don't. I
don't blame you. I don't care either. It's just that with Philip Rivers, it's a love-hate relationship because I do respect the hell out of him. But goddamn, did I hate him as he was a Charger quarterback, because that whole team was annoying. They were dominant. LaDainian Tomlinson was great. The Raiders could never stop him. Never stop Antonio Gates. Sean Merriman doing his stupid sack dance every time he sacked Aaron Brooks. And then Phillip Rivers was the quarterback that talked shit. I remember him going to the middle of the field, or not the middle of the field, but on his own sidelines, calling out Jay Cutler, an opposing quarterback. I never understood that. And remember when he tore his ACL in the playoff game against the Colts and he's talking shit to the fans? Like, what quarterback does that? But Phillip Rivers could back it up because he was really good. So it was a love-hate relationship with him. Yes, he was great, but goddamn did I hate him. And I love the fact that he's coming back. So he's making the Colts watchable, where it was going to be sad to see what that season was going to become. It was a fun season with Jonathan Taylor. And the rest of the way we got to see Riley Leonard. No, I'd rather see 44-year-old Phillip Rivers. I'm excited.
I agree with you. Now, I really do. And thinking about it too, like last year, Notre Dame, Ohio State, I remember like both of the quarterbacks specifically, including Riley Leonard, talking about how last year's game, you know, it's like this is all God's plan. It's all God's plan. It's all, you know, this is what God has planned for me. And even after losing the national championship, and it's like, well, did God plan for you to get injured late in the season when it's your time to bring your team to the playoffs as a rookie, and then they bring in a 44-year-old quarterback? It's like God's really tested him now, man.
Yeah, I know.
Jeez.
Was it also God's plan to have Notre Dame miss the playoffs altogether, and then and then be babies about it and say we're not going to go to a bowl game afterwards? I thought that was weak as hell.
Yeah, no Notre Dame player, past or present, should ever be allowed to eat a Pop-Tart again, as far as I'm concerned.
Were they going to go to the Pop-Tart Bowl?
It was the Pop-Tart Bowl.
Come on now. You think Texas?
Although, we could admit though that we've talked about it. I'm not like a huge college football guy, but going into it and researching it and seeing all the head-to-head stuff and what they did to close the season with 10 straight wins, each by at least double digits, winning the head-to-head. Did Miami beat them in the head-to-head? I think Miami beat them in the head-to-head.
Yes, they did.
To have Alabama and Miami go in instead of them, I could understand why they're pissed, but keep up with the tradition of college football and stop blaming a conference in the ACC when you don't even have a conference yourself.
Yeah, join a conference then. Pick up the phone and join a conference.
That's the thing that got me. It's like I understand on the one side why they were so pissed about missing out on the CFP. Like they probably deserved to get it, and it really would have been cool seeing Jeremiah Love at that stage. I watched him in the final game at Stanford. Like he was tearing it up in the season finale, but the result and their decision making after that and how they responded to it, can't get behind that.
No. And also, like, I get it. They started 0-2, and the rest of their schedule was kind of a cakewalk. They kicked the crap out of Syracuse 70-7, and then they beat lowly Stanford. And look at the rest of their schedule; it's not anything great. So, my thing is, do you really want to see Tulane? Do you really want to see James Madison in the CFP? Yeah. No, fuck no, we don't.
Hell yeah,
but
man.
That's what happens when you make everything right, and what's fair is fair. And the CFP, maybe we need to change that rule where not every conference needs to be represented. But well, now Notre Dame gets an automatic bid for the CFP if they finish in the top 12. You see that stupid rule that changed?
Yeah.
So whatever, they'll always win.
Pete Bavacqua, man, he was on a roll. The athletic
Pete Bavacqua, great name.
It's an awesome name. Bev Aqua. Water beverage.
You've also heard the great Tommy Lasorda rant from back in the day, right?
No, what?
Bavacqua. He's talking about some player. Bavacqua. Why do I give a fucking shit about Bavacqua?
All right, here we go.
Go for it. Steven's eating his chip. All right, Steven, your thoughts on Eagles-Chargers last night? Fun game, right? All topsy-turvy.
It was not fun. Actually, it was fun.
It was kind of fun in a screwy way where the game was kind of a shit show.
It was fun in an, oh my God, these teams just, no one can fucking win way.
I know. It was poor offensive play, 3 turnovers in one play where Jalen Hurts gets picked off by a defensive lineman, the defensive lineman fumbles, then Jalen Hurts recovers, then he fumbles. The Eagles offense got going a little bit, finally with Saquon Barkley busting a big run on a fake of the tush push. But again, man, Jalen Hurts gets in his own way, and he has not been the same quarterback since that 2022 season. You right there?
Mm-hmm.
So 5 turnovers from Jalen Hurts. That was the reason they lost the game, in my opinion. I thought they were going to drive and score a touchdown there. He had Jahan Dotson wide open on a corner strike in the end zone.
Yeah.
Clinton Hart makes a great play by tipping that ball up, and Tony Jefferson comes down with the pick. I thought they had something going finally, as I said, with the running game, but A.J. Brown going with 6 catches for 100 yards. Give the credit to the Chargers. Phillip Rivers overcame 7 sacks, and the defense was strong for most of the game.
Phillip Rivers?
Oh, sorry, Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert, again, sacked 7 times and still having a pretty good game. Being mobile without his 2 starting tackles. I still think the Eagles' defense is pretty good. Just offensively, I don't know what the hell they're doing. And I think it's a mix of Jalen Hurts just regressing since the 2022 season, the offensive line having their injuries, and Saquon Barkley not getting much there. But I still think the Eagles are going to win this division. I mean, I don't think the Cowboys are going to catch them by any means. I don't think they're as bad as 2 years ago where they nosedived during the 2023 season. I just think that they're having a Super Bowl hangover, and they probably need to reevaluate the offense going forward, whether that's changing the coaching staff or, I don't know, Jalen Hurts just seeing the field better. But I think yesterday showed you that the Chargers will be a playoff team, in my opinion, and the Eagles are as good as the 3rd seed in the NFC playoffs, probably.
Yeah, but I don't know if anyone really fears the Eagles going into the postseason this year. Like, they just aren't aligned. Something's off.
Yeah.
Like, I know that's kind of a vague way to break down that game. It was really the reason they lost was because of Jalen Hurts. Point blank, they lost because of Jalen Hurts yesterday. They had every chance to get back into that game. The Chargers didn't play all that well. It's just the Eagles stunk. And it feels like that's how it's been with each of their losses. Like, every time we talk about the Eagles losing and the 5 games that they've lost this year, it's always what the Eagles did wrong. It's not about what the other team did better than they did.
Exactly.
So,
but is that on us because they're Super Bowl champions and we want to give the Eagles the benefit of the doubt, or just because they're getting beat?
It could be that, but I think we're giving them the benefit of the doubt because they have a very, very good team.
Yeah.
But their offensive line didn't hold up this season. Something with the AJ Brown thing, we talked about that ad nauseum, but yeah, it's just, I agree, already. They feel like frauds. They really do. They feel fraudulent this year. Also, I'll say this, in overtime and in the 4th quarter, I like, and I don't know why more quarterbacks don't do this, but it felt like Justin Herbert was hellbent on using his legs at the end of the game last night.
Yeah.
Where it's just, a lot of these guys are going to be playing in zone coverage. They're probably going to be playing deep coverage too, and you're going to have room to run. I don't know why more quarterbacks don't utilize that, where they're just, I think Patrick Mahomes is obviously a king at doing that. And Jalen Hurts used to be, but like, if there's a running lane, then take it. And I thought Justin Herbert did a really good job last night of taking whatever rushing lanes they were giving him. Obviously had that big one in overtime, and they couldn't get a touchdown out of anything, but still, like, I just like that he had that mindset. And I think more quarterbacks need to use that mindset moving forward. And that's the thing with Jalen Hurts too, is like, he's still using his legs, but how much more of a threat have they been if he's not able to throw the football anymore?
Yeah.
It was just an added layer to his game. And now it's just, I don't know. I'm not saying he's going to be turnover prone because he's thrown 5 interceptions in the last 2 games, but before that, it was like 1 that he threw. He just barely threw any touchdowns. They're a hard team to figure out.
Well, they're a very talented team. They just don't play to their potential of what we saw a year ago. And let's be real, Jalen Hurts has not played well for quite some time.
No.
We were having conversations going into the playoffs. Is Jaden Daniels a better quarterback to Jalen Hurts? And then he turned it on in the postseason and won Super Bowl MVP. But yeah, Jalen Hurts definitely has regressed. I don't know if anybody's going to fear them in the postseason, but I think that teams will not take them lightly. Like I think that they have the potential to explode offensively. We just haven't seen it this season. Like right now, the season ended today. It would be the 49ers and Eagles. And I give the edge to the Eagles, but I don't think the 49ers should fear them in any way. I think the 49ers could put some points up against them. It's a weird deal where the Niners offense is their strong suit and the Eagles defense is their strong suit. But, could the Niners defense get after Jalen Hurts? I don't know. And then again, I don't know if the Eagles offense could score on the 49ers defense just because of them getting in their own way. So, yeah.
You never know, though. They could be one of those teams. I compared the 49ers to the Chiefs, the other podcast, where it's like nobody wants to face them because of just how hungry they appear to be this year and how much experience they've had in the past. But maybe the Eagles are that type of team where they just look totally different in the postseason than they do the regular season.
Yeah.
And you see them play one game of the wild card round and you think, oh shit, they might be back.
That's where I think is going to be the case for a lot of these teams that are like kind of sleepwalking right now, where they know what to do when the playoffs start and they know how to turn it on. That may be the case with the Eagles. And that may be the case with the 49ers.
Maybe.
But
yeah. Speaking of the 49ers, Derek, I'm sorry. I got this page open. I can't even see your face right now, so I'm like mulling over you. Jim Harbaugh after the game.
Yeah.
This is amazing.
Maybe the best feeling, just a wonderful feeling of winning and thrill of victory. It's certainly in the discussion. I put it in the discussion, the birth of my 7 children, my marriage, in the conversation, just joyful, joyous. And, the biblical definition of that is just overflowing with joy.
Mm-hmm.
He's insane. The man's insane. It's always fun to hear him talk. Do you believe him?
No.
I kind of do. Or he's just that hyperbolic.
Yeah.
But he believes it right after the game. And then afterwards, he's probably like, nah, I have some Judge Judy episodes I like better than that game last night.
Got him DVR'd.
All right. Now, again, also, there's like 4 weeks left in the season. So the Eagles could look like a totally different team. Are you buying the Packers more after their win against the Bears?
I'd say so.
Yeah.
I'd say so. I'm buying the Packers more, but I'm also less serious about the Bears, I'd say.
Yeah.
Like, had the Bears gotten by in that game and marched downfield and actually scored on the Packers and potentially tied it. I mean, they were down by the time. Do you think they would have tied it, right, with the extra point?
Great question. I don't know. Maybe Ben Johnson goes for it.
I don't know. I think there's too many. I think you got to be conservative there. There's so many. I mean,
how much time? How much time was left when they threw that pick?
There really wasn't much time.
Let me see here. It was 27 seconds left.
Yeah, there you go.
I think that Ben Johnson. I don't know who came up with this rule, but if you score with little time remaining on the road, you should probably go for 2 just to get the victory and get out of there. Which was very interesting. You know what? I'll say this about the Bears. Their running game is unstoppable right now. They rushed for 138 yards. Kyle Monangai and DeAndre Swift. The Packers defense can be run on. They're very good with their pass rush, but they are susceptible to the running game. And Caleb Williams, it's not because of him right now, but he's running the offense very well. 19 of 35 for 186 yards and 2 touchdowns, the one crucial pick in the end. They just got too cute with that. It was a 4th and 1. Should probably just ran it, and they would have scored. But they got too cute with Colston Loveland in the end zone, and Keyshawn Nixon makes the interception. Not for any of his teammates, but for himself. You see that quote?
No.
That was weird.
What?
They ask him about the game-sealing interception. He goes, someone asked him like how great, like how big is that for your teammates? He goes, I don't give a fuck about that, man. I'm making that play for myself. It's like, what? Okay. But I think Jordan Love has played very well the last few weeks. The 4 touchdowns against the Lions, the 3 touchdowns on Sunday. And the key there is the offensive line's playing better. He's getting, better run blocking from Josh Jacobs. And he's also getting his complementary receivers back, where he's getting the big play guy and Christian Watson, and Jaden Reed came back in this game.
Right.
If Tucker Kraft had stayed healthy, they might be, honestly, my pick to win the whole thing, and it was at the beginning of the season. But we'll see how it goes. They're playing better offensively, and they have the best pass rush in the NFC, in my opinion. But they could have easily lost this game had the Bears just not got too cute on the goal line there.
Sure. But I still think the Packers are kind of a force to be reckoned with. Are you telling me that this defense, though, with Michael Parsons, isn't good at stopping the run?
Just as Jerry Jones told you when he traded for him, or traded him away.
Better stopping the run.
I mean, that's the truth right now. And yeah, the Bears, they can run the ball. It's just I don't know about their passing offense, and that's not an indictment on Caleb Williams. It's just they're so lethal with their running game, and they don't. Everything's just predicated on that. Where I don't think. I mean, in the last few weeks, we haven't seen a ton from. Who's my guy that I'm missing his name of? The guy they just drafted a year ago, the wide receiver from Washington, Rome Odunze.
Oh God,
not even using him. It's kind of more like the same thing with the Bills and that offense where it's all just based off the running game. There's a lot of trick stuff with Luther Burden and Duvernay and Olamide Zaccheaus. So yeah, if it's where the running game is stopped, then I wonder how much Caleb Williams could be effective in this offense right now.
Yeah. That touchdown that they had to tie the game. I had God, Ben Johnson and the trickery that he pulls. I had no idea that they were even trying to go to Loveland on that play.
Yeah.
I thought they were going to try to go for an offensive lineman. And I screamed big man touchdown when I saw the play developing.
But it was just Loveland.
He's 6'5", big man touchdown.
What'd you make of the handshake at the end? I thought people made too much of a big deal out of this.
What happened?
It was very brief, where Ben Johnson stopped in his tracks, went to go shake his hand, and then Matt LaFleur doesn't stop at all, just in stride, shakes his hand, pats him on the back, keeps it going, doesn't say a word to him. And people are going to take that as Matt LaFleur not wanting to say anything to him because when Ben Johnson was introduced, he said, I enjoyed beating Matt LaFleur twice a year as the Lions OC.
Right, as you mentioned in the last podcast. And I mean, there might be something to that, but shoot, Derek, we're missing some coaching rivalries. Coaches like each other too much nowadays. I'd much rather have it where they don't respect each other and they want to beat the crap out of each other's teams.
I'm with you on that one.
I'd rather have it that way. Are we ever talking about another message that was just brought up at the exact same time as my mind was thinking it. We're mind melding, chat. We're mind melding.
Melding of the minds.
Have we ever talked about a handshake exchange that's gone well? No. We talk about the ones that are a little heated. And my mind immediately goes to Jim Harbaugh and Jim Schwartz.
That one, I'll never forget Bill Belichick and Eric Mangini shaking hands for the first time after Spygate. That was brief. And then I remember they made a big deal about it in the media, and then Bill Belichick wanted to show everybody that they were still friends. And there was this photographer in the way of Belichick. He pushes him and then goes to shake the hand or give a hug, an awkward hug to Eric Mangini. Yeah, it was cordial between Ben Johnson and Matt LaFleur, but yeah, there probably is some animosity there. Like, oh, you think you're hot shit? I've been hot shit for quite some time, buddy. Taking my team to the NFC Championship game a few times and lost.
Right.
Get to that level.
We need this. We absolutely need this. I wish Shanahan and McVay didn't like each other.
There's mutual respect, but I'm sure
there's the mutual respect factor.
Yeah.
They're never going to hate each other. And Shanahan, I think he could. I think he has that in him to despise another coach, but McVay is not that guy. I don't know who that guy is. I don't know. I think Mike McDonald is way too
button up.
And then Jonathan Gannon seems like a nice dude too.
Yeah, they're all nice.
Yeah, nice guys.
Except for Liam Cohen and Robert Saleh.
Yes.
I'll fucking end you. As far as the Rams and Seahawks, they still look like the more dominant teams in the NFC West that you would put money on to win the division over the 49ers?
Probably, but no guarantees though.
Yeah. No, I mean, the Rams rebounded well. Puka Nacua again, a couple touchdowns. That game was 10-10, and then out of nowhere, it goes to 45-17. Same thing with the Seahawks. They were, I think it was 6-6 at halftime, and then they just pulled away in the second half with Rashid Shaheed getting the kick return and a couple touchdowns from Jackson Smith and Jigba. I will see defenses are kind of playing with Sam Darnold right now, where he's kind of reverting to the guy we saw with the Jets, seeing ghosts. But when he's in a rhythm, he can't be stopped. And then, like the thing about the Seahawks, it was a different style of game against the Falcons where they usually build early leads and then get lackadaisical in the second half and have a lot of turnovers. This is where they were kind of stagnant for most of the game and then pulled away in the fourth quarter with being dominant. So I still think Sam Darnold is the Achilles heel that will ultimately stop the Seahawks from winning a Super Bowl. But I'm definitely buying the Rams a lot more.
Yeah, for sure.
Ravens and Steelers. Were you surprised the Steelers had any life of offense in this game?
I was.
Yeah. I was too.
Yeah, of course.
Aaron Rodgers at DK finding a connection a couple times, going deep. The most controversial play was Isaiah Likely looked like a touchdown in the end zone. He had 2 feet, and then the defender knocked it out. It was kind of reminiscent of, do you remember this play, Steven, when Lewis Murphy caught a touchdown against the Chargers week 1 and they ruled it incomplete?
No.
This is years ago. This is when, like, the Calvin Johnson play where he caught in the end zone. He didn't maintain possession. The Des Bryant play. Then things started changing. I remember when Lance Moore this is where I'm going to nerd out here on just specific plays in NFL history. Lance Moore, yep, where he got the 2-point conversion in the Super Bowl. But then they changed it up, and then Zach Ertz, that touchdown counted in the Super Bowl. The Corey Clement touchdown where they didn't have possession long enough. So I thought it was ticky-tacky with the Ravens and Steelers, but I understand why they ruled against it. Nevertheless, I don't think Lamar Jackson's healthy right now. I don't think the Ravens defense is that good as far as pass rush. And this division is going to come down to week 18, where we all were kind of writing off the Steelers and maybe Mike Tomlin was going to get fired. That's not happening at all, it sounds like. It'll be whether or not his contract gets picked up. But this is going to come down to week 18 when they play each other again, probably for the division.
Woo-wee.
And then anything else I have here?
Oh, dude, it was the Bills over the Bengals.
Yes, of course.
That was the big game of the week. And I don't have much on this one. I mean, obviously the Joe Burrow and a couple of interceptions, and it really just, the fact that they were even able to come back is impressive in itself. But obviously, had those interceptions not happened, then we probably wouldn't be talking about it. But I hate how you're just robbed of a great Joe Burrow season. It's just clear how much better the Bengals are when he's at quarterback. And that's like the most obvious statement you could possibly say. Hey, the Bengals are better with Joe Burrow as the starter. But I almost hate watching him play, in that I'm reminded of what we lost this season, in that, the Bengals could have been competitive, and watching a battle between Josh Allen and Joe Burrow, that's what it's meant to be. You're supposed to enjoy battles with the superstars, and we just haven't really got a lot of that this season. With Patrick Mahomes regressing, and we've talked about it with the discrepancy in the AFC, and then within the NFC, you got, we just mentioned Matt Stafford and Sam Darnold, who are just playing out of their minds, but you're not getting that great a play from Jalen Hurts right now. So the thing I liked was it was a great battle between two elite quarterbacks, but it also reminded me of what we've been missing a lot of this season.
Yeah. I mean, he definitely brings something to the Bengals that is just different. Even though Joe Flacco had these incredible performances where the offense was playing great, but the defense could have handled their own, kind of the same deal with Joe Burrow, but yeah, he just makes them so much better. It's elite quarterback play in the snow. It was just fun to watch. As far as Josh Allen, I mean, so many plays in this game. The 4th and goal play where he runs to the right side of the sideline and kind of toys with the defender, and then the very last minute throws a touchdown pass to Khalil Shakir.
Yeah.
The other 4th down conversions he had, running for the long touchdown. I mean, right now, I would say your MVP conversation is Matthew Stafford, Drake May, and Josh Allen. And I told you last week, I'm kind of iffy on the Bills passing game, and I still am, because I don't think their wide receivers are great. But their tight ends helped them out, getting Dalton Kincaid back and Dawson Knox. That's the difference. I think those are the most reliable wide receivers right now, or just receivers in general for the Bills. Their running game's great with James Cook, despite him fumbling twice in the red zone and the Bengals recovering. But the biggest thing with the Bills is their defense. Can they hold up? And right now, I would say no. Like, are the Bills the type of team like the Eagles that could turn it on in the postseason, where they're probably not going to see the likes of the Chiefs or maybe even the Baltimore Ravens, and they may have to go on the road to play New England and Denver, but can they be finally that team? I don't know because of their defense right now, but they make great plays where Christian Bedford gets that pick six, unbelievable one, just going up in the air and taking it from Joe Burrow, stiff arming him like he's Chandler Jones on Mac Jones a couple years ago and running for the touchdown. Then they come right back and get a tip ball and a defensive lineman gets it. So there was big plays by the defense, but ultimately they gave up 34 points. So that's my one thing with the Bills. But can their passing game match their running game, which is something that I never thought I would say with Josh Allen for back in the day.
Well, I think if we're talking like when it gets to the playoffs, though, I don't know how much that's going to matter when they're taking on the likes of whomever the top 4 teams are in the AFC. Like if it stands right now and the Bills finish in the 6th seed where they got to play the Jaguars in the wild card round,
Yeah,
I feel okay about that.
Yeah.
So I think right now what we're going to see is I personally think the Bills are going to I don't know what the race is going to look like, but I do feel that they are probably going to finish second in that division. I mean, the Patriots have the easiest schedule, but they're probably going to finish second, and I would think that they would squeak their way into the playoffs, and I think they'd make it past the wild card round, but then you get to the division, and that's where things get a little iffy, and I think that's where all the problems that you're mentioning, the chickens, they would come home to roost, and they would roost in the face of the Bills franchise.
Chickens and Bills and chicken wings. Is there a connection there?
There's something there.
There's something there.
Mhm.
I agree with Otis Bird here. Looking back, that loss to the Falcons earlier this season did them in. Yeah, I agree with that. That's a bad loss in hindsight. But the Bills and Patriots play this weekend, and if the Bills beat them in Foxborough, that's where I don't think they're going to win the division because in the end, I think the Patriots have the tiebreakers. But that might give me the confidence where, okay, the Bills can treat this like a playoff game and go into Foxborough and beat that team right now. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I'm skeptical of their defense right now. Real quick, who's winning the NFC South? Now, this is a sexy division, but at this point, I think that the Panthers are very capable of it with the Buccaneers right now reeling and losing a very bad game to the Saints.
What also happened with that?
What happened with that?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
With the Buccaneers losing to the Saints.
Thank you, Stephen. I had a long streak going in the Survivor pool, and I was doing really well. And I thought that I would still go on, with the Buccaneers and Saints. That's the right move to make with the Bucs. They should win that game. But no, I'm done. I'm out of the Survivor pool after 14 weeks. It was a good run, Stephen.
It was, Derek. I respect it. You know what? It's not about the result. It's not about the destination. It's all about the friends we've made along the way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Even though I've never actually we've met, but I feel like me and your father-in-law Tony Cardoso and I are very close now.
Yeah, kindred spirits, I'd say.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, real quick, let me just take a look here. Saints, Bucks, Seahawks, Bucks. Okay, Bucks twice. And then the Buccaneers, obviously the Panthers twice, and then they have the Dolphins and the Falcons. Yeah, I'm giving it to the Buccaneers.
Still?
Yeah, Buccaneers have an easier schedule. I mean, it's going to come down to those 2 division games. Like,
yeah,
2 out of the next 4 matchups they're playing against each other. But the other 2 matchups, it's the Falcons and Dolphins for the Buccaneers and for the Carolina Panthers. Let me pull this up really quick. Again,
Seahawks.
Yeah, the Seahawks and the Saints. So that's a winnable game for sure. God, man, it all depends on those division games. But right now, I'd give it to the Bucs.
I would say, as I said earlier with the AFC North, that last game of the regular season with the Steelers and Ravens is going to come down into winning who wins that game will win the division. Same thing with the Bucs and Panthers. I probably lean Buccaneers, but I would not be the least bit surprised if the Panthers end up doing this thing because that was a bad loss for the Bucs. And then finally the Sunday night game. Chiefs done, Steven? Chiefs, it's over for them, not making the playoffs?
I think so.
I think so too. And you know what? Let me just give kudos to the Texans. They're the best defensive football. Their ability to get after Patrick Mahomes, and they're dealing with offensive line issues, but the 3 interceptions they got, and just the drop passes from Rashee Rice and Travis
Yeah.
Kelce, they just look
Yeah.
like an older team right now.
Yeah, it's a
And
shame.
also, I gotta. It's a shame why you're smiling. What the fuck is Andy Reid thinking, dude? Going forward on 4th and 1 on your own 30? What the hell was that? It was a defensive game and it was tied 10-10. I don't understand that at all. Are these tears of joy?
Yeah. Oh my God, Andy Reid making crucial mistakes.
was
Patrick
bad.
Mahomes at a loss.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see the Chiefs in the postseason. I'll say this, though, and this is not going to be a very popular take, but I'm going to say it. I kind of want to see them in the playoffs. And I know that Raiders fans hate the Chiefs and 49ers fans hate the Chiefs. Most NFL fans hate the Chiefs. But you know what? You might have said that they were vanquished against the Eagles in the Super Bowl, but I want it to be where the Chiefs made the playoffs and finally the Bills or another AFC team beat them. Like it's kind of lame where the team that was the juggernaut for the longest time just goes away or just doesn't make the playoffs entirely. Like how lame would it have been for the Raiders not to play the Steelers in the AFC Championship game back in the 70s, or with the 1994 49ers and they don't face the Cowboys, or Peyton Manning never overcoming the Patriots in the playoffs. That's what I was hoping for with the Bills. But we're probably not going to get that this playoff. So that's the lame part where I wanted the Chiefs to make the playoffs in order for them to lose, but we're not going to get that.
But Derek, I think we can admit that this is sort of a down season for all of that, though.
Yeah.
Like it feels like a new winner is going to be. It's not to say that this is just the end of the Chiefs. Actually, I wouldn't be surprised if the Chiefs come back better than ever just next season as they continue to build their roster. They're not going to have to go through the whole suspension with Rashee Rice, and they're finally going to get, a little bit of time off with January and February because they've just been playing so deep into the postseason for the last 7 years. And I think the Bills could be back and much better with Josh Allen and adding to their roster. Hopefully Joe Burrow is fully healthy. Who knows? Maybe the Chargers take another step and continue to build their thing. And I don't really know so much about the Broncos. The Patriots could look much better next season. Like, I don't know if this is necessarily the year where we are going to say like this is the postseason for the ages where it was superstar against superstar. This is going to be one of those postseasons where it's kind of up for grabs for everybody.
Yeah, I hear you on that one. And there's some guys that never got that. Like Tom Brady dominated the Steelers and Ben Roethlisberger never got a chance to beat him in the playoffs. So maybe that's not the case for Josh Allen, but I was kind of hoping that. But
sure,
as you just said, that could be something we see in the future. All right, before we get out of here, so I went to Massier's with some of the opiners, along with Danny Dunn and Walter Icabalseta, and I got nice gifts from Rocca New Era and AJ Cruz, some jerk sauce from AJ Cruz, and some hot and spicy jelly beans from Rocca New Era. And very nice gifts, and I was very thankful for them. But also, I was coming from Bart, and I didn't have anything to put those things in. So I told those guys, I'll see you on Friday at the Almanac show, and I'll get those gifts then. And they had no issue with it. But then I bring it up on Dirty Work, and everybody's like, what an asshole move, Derek. These guys give you gifts, and you're not going to take them with you on Bart? I had nothing to put them in. My pockets weren't big enough. So I'll leave it up to you, Steven. Was that an asshole move on my part?
Did Ernie too bring a grocery bag?
No.
So he's lying.
He did not bring a grocery bag. I don't remember that.
You sure?
Not that I remember.
Because if you had something to carry the gifts in, then yes, you're the asshole. However, if you didn't have anything to carry them in, then I get it. Like, it's fine. We're going to see each other again.
So Rocca New Era is saying, yes, I did bring a grocery bag. I don't recall that. Was that brought up? Okay, well, the bottom line is, guys, did you care that I told you we're going to see you next Friday? It's easier for me to take that stuff in my own car, or I'll take a lift and put that stuff in my bag. Is it that big of a deal?
Well, how much was it? Like, what kind of stuff was it?
It was a pretty big tint of jelly beans and a whole thing of jerk sauce.
Tint of jelly beans?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's a
So
lot of jelly beans.
just a big old thing of jelly beans.
Well, then I'm that weirdo that's on Bart being like, I got my jerk sauce and jelly beans.
God, what are you doing on a Sunday night?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I don't think it's that bad, but if they brought a grocery bag, like it should have been a little more cognizant of that, I guess.
I did not notice the grocery bag. Okay, that's
Yeah.
on me.
Yeah, I mean it's fine. You're gonna see him again, and you'll get the gifts, and all will be well.
Yeah.
But you shouldn't have brought that up on the show, Derek. Anytime you
Yeah.
bring something like that on the show, you're gonna get
Yeah, I got to learn going into my second year of being an on-air host. I got to stop divulging so much because people are just going to turn it against me.
Yeah. You'd like to think you're being open and vulnerable, and you're connecting with the listeners. You're giving them some insight into who you are as a person, and then what you get in return are those people just calling you an asshole.
Yep. So that's my New Year's resolution is to stop divulging a lot on the radio. But I'll do it here because I don't feel the same backlash from the Opiners.
All sports all the time.
Yep, just got to talk about all sports all the time.
Mhm.
And everybody, that's going to be it for tonight. We'll see you guys on Saturday to talk about, week 15 in the NFL. It's going by fast.
You didn't want to talk about Jonathan Kuminga?
Do you want to?
No.
We could save. The Warriors aren't playing until Friday, so we got plenty of time to do that on Saturday's
I
show.
just like how we're back in the exact same position that we've always been in.
What'd you expect? Like it was bound to happen where he flashed at times, and then January 15th rolling around. Yeah, it's looking like that's going to happen, Steven. The uprising of Pat Spencer and the demise of Jonathan Kuminga.
Yeah. This Pat Spencer thing, it's Jeremy Lin 2.0. It's just a white dude with a mustache. What do we call it?
Spensanity?
Spensanity?
Yeah.
I feel like we should come up with something a little more creative because like Linsanity is there. Spensanity is fine, but it's just like a riff on Linsanity.
Well, okay, I'll do you one better. It'll be a riff on Linsanity, but because it's Pat Spencer, and if you heard him in interviews, what about Lisp Sanity? I'll end it on that one.
Come on, dude.
Yeah, that was kind of mean. All right, to Otis Bird is the word, to AJ Cruz, to Pat H, to Ernie One, to Rocka Nuera, to AJ Cruz. I believe that is it. Everybody, we'll see you guys on Friday at Almanac. Steven won't, but come out to Dirty Work. We'll see you guys on Saturday for Just Your Opinion, man. Steven, say what you always say.
Well, I just want to also give a shout out to who's now technically my cousin Carly, who participated in her first wrestling tournament in high school. She's a sophomore, and she ended up coming in second in the entire thing in her first ever wrestling tournament. So shout out to her. Wanted to say that to the 12 people that are listening to this. That's just our opinion, man.